I'm staring at my signature on the divorce papers, the ink still wet like the tears I refused to shed in front of Stephen. My 8-year-old son sits across the lawyer's conference room, coloring in a book while his entire world crumbles around him. Glenn's already gone, probably celebrating at some bar with his secretary-turned-girlfriend. "Mommy, when is Daddy coming home?" Stephen asks without looking up from his dinosaur drawing. The lawyer clears his throat. I fold the papers and stuff them into my purse. "Daddy's going to live somewhere else now, sweetheart. Remember we talked about this? But I want him to come home. I want a lot of things too, kid. Like not having to choose between rent and groceries. Like not working double shifts just to keep our heads above water." 3 weeks later, I'm sitting on the floor of our new apartment, surrounded by cardboard boxes and the smell of industrial carpet cleaner. Stephen's crying again because his action figures are missing, probably left behind in our old house that Glenn gets to keep. Everything feels wrong, cramped, temporary. "This isn't our real home," he sniffles. "It is now." I pull him close, his small body shaking against mine. "We're going to make it work." My phone buzzes with another bill reminder. Heat, electric, car payment. The numbers blur together like a math problem I'll never solve. Monday morning at the Bayfront Inn, I'm fumbling with the computer system behind the front desk. My supervisor, Mrs. Chen, hovers nearby with the patience of a saint. "Click there, then enter the guest information," she says for the third time. A businessman in an expensive suit taps his fingers impatiently while I struggle with his reservation. "Is there someone else who can help me? I'm already late for my meeting." "I'm sorry, sir. I'm still learning the system." He sighs dramatically and checks his watch. Mrs. Chen steps in, fingers flying across the keyboard with practiced ease. The man gets his key and storms off toward the elevators. "Don't worry," Mrs. Chen says quietly. "Everyone struggles the first week. You'll get the hang of it." I nod, but inside I'm screaming. Glenn never had to worry about learning new computer systems or dealing with rude customers. He had his comfortable office job, his predictable routine, his secretary who brought him coffee exactly how he liked it. My break comes at 2, and I call the school to check on Stephen. The secretary tells me he's fine but had another crying spell during lunch. I grip the phone tighter, guilt gnawing at my stomach. This is supposed to get easier, right? That evening, Stephen and I eat boxed macaroni at our tiny kitchen table. The chairs don't match, the plates are paper, and we're using plastic forks because I haven't unpacked the real silverware yet. "I miss our old kitchen," Stephen says, stirring his food without eating. "I know, baby. I miss it too." Are we poor now? The question hits me like a slap. We're just starting over. Sometimes grown-ups have to do that. He takes a small bite, considering this. Like when I had to start over in kindergarten after we moved? Exactly like that. Except kindergarten doesn't involve court dates and collection notices and lying awake at 3 a.m. wondering if you made the right choice. Later, after Stephen's asleep, I sit on our second-hand couch with my laptop, applying for weekend shifts at other hotels. The screen glows harsh in the darkness, numbers and forms blending together until my eyes burn. My phone rings. Glenn's name flashes across the screen. "What do you want?" "I want to see Stephen this weekend." "Fine. Pick him up Saturday morning." "Emma, look, I know things are..." "Don't." My voice comes out sharper than intended. "Just don't." I hang up and toss the phone aside. Outside, Chula Vista hums with traffic and life continuing as if my world hasn't completely imploded. Tomorrow I'll get up, put on my hotel uniform and pretend everything's fine. Stephen will ask again when Daddy's coming home, and I'll give him the same non-answer. But tonight, I let myself sit in the darkness and admit the truth. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. It's been 6 weeks since the divorce papers were signed when I first see her. I'm running late for Stephen's school pickup, still in my hotel uniform, when I spot this blonde woman sitting cross-legged on the floor of his classroom, surrounded by second graders hanging on every word she reads. "And the dragon realized he wasn't scary at all, just lonely," she says, her voice warm and animated. The kids giggle as she makes funny faces for each character. Stephen's teacher, Mrs. Patterson, catches my eye. That's Alyssa Reed, one of our volunteer readers. The kids adore her. I watch this Alyssa person close the book with a flourish. She's got these striking blue eyes and moves with an easy confidence that I envy. When she stands, she's taller than I expected, maybe 5'8", with an athletic build that suggests she doesn't spend her days behind a hotel desk. "Stephen, your mom's here," Mrs. Patterson calls out. My son rushes over, backpack dragging behind him. "Mom, did you hear the dragon story? It was so cool." Miss Alyssa does all the voices. Alyssa approaches us, and I notice small scars on her knuckles, like she works with her hands. "You must be Stephen's mom. He talks about you all the time. Emma Hughes." I shake her hand, surprised by her firm grip. "Thanks for reading to the kids. Stephen loves story time." "It's my pleasure." These little ones keep me grounded. There's something about her smile that makes me feel seen, not just polite small talk. But I'm already running late for my evening shift at the hotel. "We better get going, Stephen. Nice meeting you, Alyssa." She waves as we hurry toward the parking lot. Stephen chatters about the dragon story the entire drive, and I find myself thinking about those blue eyes. 2 weeks later, I'm at the grocery store after work, staring at prices like they might change if I look hard enough. $18 for a package of chicken. Stephen needs new shoes, the electric bill is due tomorrow, and my checking account balance is laughable. Tough choices tonight? I turn to find Alyssa standing nearby with her own cart, looking genuinely concerned rather than nosy. Story of my life these days. I grab the cheaper ground beef instead, already calculating how many meals I can stretch it into. "Mind if I ask how you're settling in? Stephen mentioned you moved recently." Something in her tone makes me pause. Not pity, just honest interest. Some days are better than others. Single mom life, you know? She nods like she actually does know. "I volunteer with a community group that helps families with resources. Nothing fancy, just practical stuff. Would you be interested in hearing about it?" My pride wants to say no, but my bank account says otherwise. "What kind of resources?" "Food pantry, clothing drives, after-school programs. No judgment, no paperwork hassles, just neighbors helping neighbors." I study her face for any sign of condescension but find none. "That sounds helpful." She pulls out her phone. "Can I get your number?" "I'll text you some information." As I give her my number, our fingers brush briefly when she hands me her phone to double-check the digits. There's a moment of awkward silence that feels charged somehow. "Thanks," I say, handing it back. "This is really kind of you. Everyone needs help sometimes. I'll text you tomorrow." The next evening, after Stephen's asleep, I'm nursing a cup of coffee that's more creamer than actual coffee when my phone buzzes. "Hi, Emma, it's Alyssa from the school. Hope you don't mind me texting this late." I stare at the message, surprised by how glad I am to hear from her. Not at all. I'm a night owl these days anyway. "Want to grab coffee tomorrow? I can tell you more about those community programs, and honestly, I could use the adult conversation." Something about her honesty makes me smile. "That sounds great. Where?" We arrange to meet at a cafe near the school. I spend way too much time picking out clothes the next morning, settling on jeans and a sweater that doesn't scream my life is falling apart. Alyssa's already there when I arrive, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups in front of her. She's wearing a simple blue shirt that matches her eyes and dark jeans. Without the school setting, I notice how she carries herself with quiet strength. "I got you a latte. Hope that's okay." "Perfect. Thank you." I sit across from her, suddenly nervous for reasons I can't name. "So, how are you really doing?" And don't say fine, because I recognize that particular brand of barely holding it together. Her directness catches me off guard. That obvious? I've been there. Different circumstances, but I know what it looks like when someone's rebuilding their entire life. There's something in her voice that makes me want to tell her everything. About Glenn's affair, about the lonely nights, about feeling like I'm failing Stephen every day. Some days I feel like I'm drowning, I admit, like I made this huge mistake leaving my marriage, and now Stephen's paying the price. Did you have a choice? He was cheating. Had been for months, maybe longer. I could have stayed, pretended not to know, kept the house and the stability for Stephen's sake. Alyssa leans forward. But you chose your self-respect instead. That's not a mistake, Emma. That's courage. Doesn't feel like courage when you're choosing between groceries and gas money. The practical stuff gets easier, I promise. But the decision to leave? That took guts. We sit in comfortable silence for a moment, and I realize this is the first real conversation I've had with another adult in weeks that wasn't about work or Stephen's schedule. "Thank you," I say quietly. For caring enough to ask. Everyone deserves someone who asks. Her smile is warm, genuine. Now let me tell you about this food pantry. The grocery trips with Alyssa become our Thursday tradition. She picks me up after my shift ends, and we navigate the aisles together like we've been doing this for years instead of weeks. Tonight, she's teaching me her system for stretching $1. Dried beans, rice in bulk, frozen vegetables, she says, tossing items into the cart. You can make a week's worth of meals for under $30. How do you know all this? I ask, watching her calculate prices in her head faster than I can use my phone's calculator. Experience. I wasn't always financially stable. She pauses, examining 2 brands of pasta sauce. Sometimes life forces you to get creative. There's a story there, but I don't push. We've developed this comfortable rhythm of sharing without prying, trusting what the other chooses to reveal. At checkout, she slides her card before I can protest. Alyssa, you can't keep doing this. Says who? She grins, and I notice she has this small scar through her left eyebrow that gives her face character. Besides, Steven's birthday is next week. Consider it an early present. The mention of Steven's 9th birthday hits me like a gut punch. Glenn's supposed to share custody, but he's been unreliable with visits. I haven't even planned a party because I can't afford one. Hey, what just happened? You went somewhere dark. Alyssa touches my arm gently as we walk to her truck. Steven's birthday. I keep thinking about last year when Glenn rented that bounce house and hired a magician. Now I'll be lucky if I can afford a cake from the grocery store. She loads our bags in silence, then turns to face me. What if we threw him a party together? Nothing fancy, just kids from school and the community center? I know people who could donate decorations, food. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. Her blue eyes are serious now. Let me help, Emma, please. Something in her voice makes my chest tighten. When's the last time someone wanted to help just because they cared, not because they wanted something in return? Okay, I whisper. Okay, yes. Steven would love that. Her smile could light up the entire parking lot. The party planning becomes our evening phone ritual. After Steven's asleep, I'll call Alyssa and we'll discuss themes, guest lists, party games. Her enthusiasm is infectious, and I find myself laughing more than I have in months. Superhero theme? She suggests during one late-night call. He's obsessed with Spider-Man right now. I'm curled up on my couch in pajamas, feeling more relaxed than I have since the divorce. Perfect. I know a guy who does face painting, owes me a favor. What kind of favor? I tease. Are you secretly running some underground network of party suppliers? She laughs, but there's something guarded in it, something like that. I'll tell you about it someday. I'll hold you to that. I hope you do. There's a moment of silence that feels charged, like we're dancing around something neither of us wants to name yet. The night before Steven's party, my car won't start. It's 11 p.m. I'm supposed to pick up the cake early tomorrow morning, and my ancient Honda is making this grinding noise that definitely means expensive repairs I can't afford. I stare at the steering wheel and let myself have a moment of pure panic. How am I going to get to work? How am I going to get Steven to school? How am I going to fix this on top of everything else? My phone rings. Alyssa's name on the screen. Hey, just wanted to check if you need help with anything tomorrow. She stops talking when she hears my voice crack. Emma, what's wrong? My car died. I'm sitting in the parking lot of my apartment complex, and it won't start, and I don't know what I'm going to do. The words tumble out in a rush, embarrassment mixing with genuine fear. Where are you exactly? I give her my address and she says, I'll be right there. 20 minutes later, headlights sweep across the parking lot. Alyssa jumps out of her truck wearing sweatpants and a tank top, like she threw on the first clothes she could find. Her hair is in a messy ponytail, and she looks beautiful in a way that makes my heart skip. Pop the hood, she says, already pulling tools from her truck. I watch her lean over the engine, her movements confident and sure. You know about cars too? I know about a lot of things. She jiggles something, then straightens up. Try it now. The engine turns over smoothly. I stare at her through the windshield, amazed. How did you? Just loose battery cables. Happens all the time. She wipes her hands on an old rag, looking pleased with herself. But you should get it looked at soon. This is just a temporarily fix. I get out of the car, and suddenly we're standing very close. She smells like motor oil and something floral, maybe her shampoo. In the dim parking lot light, her eyes look almost silver. "Thank you," I say softly. "I don't know what I would have done if—" "You would have figured it out, you always do." Her voice is gentle, and she reaches up to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear. "You're stronger than you think, Emma." The gesture is so tender it makes my breath catch. We're standing there in the humid night air, and I realize I want to kiss her. The thought comes out of nowhere and hits me like lightning. I step back, flustered. Stephen has school tomorrow. Right, of course. She clears her throat and starts packing up her tools. "I'll pick you up at 8 to get the cake. Sound good?" "Perfect." "And Alyssa? Thank you, for everything. I don't know how to repay you." She pauses at her truck door, looking back at me with an expression I can't quite read. "Just let me be here for you. That's all I want." As her taillights disappear down the street, I stand in the parking lot wondering when helping hands started feeling like something more dangerous and exhilarating than I'm ready to handle. Stephen's party was 3 weeks ago, and I'm still getting thank you notes from parents. The face painter Alyssa arranged was a hit, but I keep wondering about that favor he owed her. There's something mysterious about her connections around town, like she knows everyone but talks about herself carefully. "Mom, can we call Miss Alyssa?" Stephen asks over breakfast. "I want to show her my new drawing." "She's probably busy, sweetheart." But my phone buzzes with a text from her, like she sensed we were talking about her. "Want to try something new today? Promise it's not dangerous." I text back, "Define dangerous." "Meet me at Otay Lakes Park at 2 p.m. Bring water and wear comfortable clothes, trust me." An hour later, I'm standing in the parking lot watching Alyssa unload 2 mountain bikes from her truck. She's wearing cycling shorts and a fitted tank top that shows off her toned arms. I try not to stare at how the fabric clings to her curves. "You want me to ride that?" I point at the bike like it might bite me. "When's the last time you rode a bike?" "High school, maybe? And definitely not on hills like those." I gesture toward the rolling terrain around the lake. "It's like riding a bike." She grins at her own joke. "You never really forget." The first 10 minutes are terrifying. I wobble and brake too hard, convinced I'm going to faceplant in front of her. But Alyssa stays beside me, her voice calm and encouraging. "Relax your grip. Let the bike do the work." Gradually, something magical happens. My body remembers the rhythm, the balance, the freedom of momentum. We follow the lake trail, wind whipping through my hair, and I feel lighter than I have in months. "This is amazing!" I shout over the breeze. Alyssa looks back at me, her face glowing with pleasure. "I knew you'd love it." We stop at a scenic overlook, both of us breathing hard. The view stretches across the water to the mountains beyond, and I understand why people become addicted to this sport. "How did you know I needed this?" I ask, accepting the water bottle she offers. "You've been wound tighter than a spring lately. Sometimes you need to remember what it feels like to just fly." I study her profile as she gazes at the lake. "You do this often?" "Few times a week. There's a group that meets Saturdays if you're interested. Nothing too serious, just people who like getting out of their heads for a while." "Are they all as good as you?" She laughs. "I've been riding for about 5 years. Started after—" She pauses, choosing her words carefully. "After a difficult period in my life. The bike saved me, honestly." "What kind of difficult period?" "Maybe someday I'll tell you the whole story. For now, let's just say I needed to rebuild myself from the ground up." There's pain in her voice, old but still tender. I want to ask more, but I respect her boundaries the way she respects mine. "Well, I'm glad you rode into my life," I say. Then immediately blush at how that sounds. She turns to look at me, and something shifts in her expression. "Emma, we should head back," I say quickly, suddenly nervous about the intensity in her blue eyes. The ride back is different. We're both quieter, more aware of each other. When she helps me load the bikes, her hands brush mine, and I feel that same electric current from the night she fixed my car. "Same time next week?" she asks. "Absolutely." Saturday morning, I'm nervous about meeting her cycling group. What if they're all serious athletes who make me feel like a fraud? But when I arrive at the meeting spot, I find a diverse group of about 12 people, ranging from college students to retirees. "Everyone, this is Emma," Alyssa announces. "First-time group rider, so let's take it easy on her." A woman named Carol, probably in her 50s, pats my shoulder. Don't worry, honey, we've all been there. Just stick close to the group and speak up if you need to stop. The route takes us through residential neighborhoods, past parks and along bike paths I never knew existed. Alyssa rides beside me, occasionally pointing out landmarks or calling out traffic warnings. On your left, she says, smoothly passing a slower rider. Everything about her movement is fluid, confident, like she was born on a bike. During our rest stop at a cafe, I watch her interact with the group. She's clearly well respected, maybe even looked up to. People ask her advice about routes, bike maintenance, training tips, but she deflects personal questions with the same skill she uses navigating traffic. How long have you known Alyssa? I ask Carol during a quiet moment. About 2 years. Met her when I was going through my divorce. She kind of took me under her wing, helped me find my confidence again. She seems to do that for people. That's Alyssa. She's got this way of seeing what people need, sometimes before they know it themselves. Carol gives me a knowing look. You're lucky to have her in your corner. After the ride, the group disperses quickly. It's just me and Alyssa in the parking lot, both of us sweaty and tired but exhilarated. How was that? She asks, toweling off her face. Incredible. I can't believe I waited this long to try it. Sometimes we need the right person to show us new possibilities. The comment hangs between us, loaded with meaning. I'm loading my borrowed bike when I notice her watching me with an expression I can't quite read. Emma, can I ask you something? Sure. Are you happy? I mean, really happy with how your life is going? The question catches me off guard. I'm surviving. Some days that feels like enough. What about the other days? I consider this, struck by how safe I feel talking to her. The other days I wonder what it would feel like to not just survive but actually live. To want things for myself again, not just for Steven. She nods slowly. I think you're closer to that than you realize. What makes you say that? You got on the bike today. You trusted me enough to try something new. That's not survival behavior, Emma. That's someone ready to start living again. Standing there in the afternoon sun, both of us flushed and happy from the ride, I realize she's right. For the first time since the divorce, I'm doing something purely for the joy of it. And that joy is intimately connected to her presence in my life. Thank you, I say softly, for all of this. Thank you for being brave enough to try. As I drive home, I catch myself smiling in the rearview mirror. When Steven asks about my day, I find myself talking animatedly about the ride, the group, the feeling of freedom on the bike. I don't mention how Alyssa's laugh made my heart race faster than any hill we climbed. The cycling group has become my Saturday morning ritual. 8 weeks in, and I can keep up with most of the pack. Alyssa still rides beside me, but now it's chosen companionship rather than protective hovering. Today she's been unusually quiet, checking her phone more than usual. Everything okay? I ask during our water break. Just some personal stuff I need to handle later. She forces a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Nothing you need to worry about. After the ride, I'm loading my bike when I notice her knuckles. Yesterday they were normal. Today, 2 of them are swollen and there's a faint purple bruise across the back of her right hand. Alyssa, what happened to your hand? She glances down, then quickly shoves both hands in her pockets. Oh, that stupid accident working on my truck. You know how it is with tools. But I've watched her work on vehicles. She's careful, precise. This doesn't look like a wrench slip. Are you sure? It looks painful. It's fine, Emma, really. Her tone shuts down further questioning, but something in her eyes looks almost guilty. I drop Steven at Glenn's that evening, enduring another lecture about his concerns over my lifestyle changes and new friendships. Apparently someone saw me cycling and reported back to him like I'm under surveillance. Steven needs stability, not some midlife crisis phase, Glenn says from his doorway. It's called exercise and having friends. You should try it. Driving home, I can't shake the image of Alyssa's bruised knuckles. The explanation felt rehearsed, like she'd used it before. Combined with her mysterious connections around town, the favors people owe her, the way she deflects personal questions, I'm starting to wonder what I don't know about her. Monday evening, I'm walking to my car after work when I spot her truck in the hotel parking lot. She's sitting behind the wheel, engine running, staring at her phone. When she sees me approaching, she quickly ends whatever call she was on. Hey, what brings you here? I ask through her open window. Just had some business nearby. Thought I'd see if you needed a ride home. My car's been running fine since she fixed it, and she knows this. Business? Meeting with a client about a job. She's being evasive again, but her smile seems genuine. Want to grab dinner? I know a place that has great tacos. The restaurant is a hole-in-the-wall joint in a part of town I don't usually visit. The kind of place that's all locals, where everyone seems to know Alyssa. The waitress doesn't even ask for her order, just brings her usual. Regular here? I ask. I come by after work sometimes. The owner's family has been through some tough times. I help out when I can. What kind of work do you do exactly? I realize I've never asked. She takes a bite of her taco, buying time. Odd jobs mostly. Construction, mechanical work, whatever pays the bills. Is that how you know so many people around town? Something like that. The non-answers are starting to frustrate me. We've grown close over these past months, but I'm realizing how little I actually know about her daily life, her work, where she goes when we're not together. Alyssa, are you in some kind of trouble? She looks up sharply. What makes you ask that? You're secretive about work. You have mysterious bruises. People owe you favors. You seem to know everyone but talk about yourself like you're in witness protection. She's quiet for a long moment, studying my face. Would it change things between us if I told you I wasn't exactly conventional in how I make money? My heart starts beating faster. What do you mean? I mean, there are things about my life that might shock you. Things I'm not proud of, but that I do because I have to. Are you in danger? Not the way you're thinking. But Emma, there are parts of my world that... She runs her hand through her hair, clearly struggling. I care about you too much to drag you into certain situations. What situations? She reaches across the table and takes my hand. Her knuckles are definitely worse than they were Saturday, I notice now. Can you trust me for a little while longer? I promise I'll tell you everything, but I need to handle some things first. The warmth of her touch makes it hard to think clearly. You're scaring me. I don't want you scared. I want you safe and happy, and... She stops herself, like she almost said something she wasn't ready to share. And what? And in my life, for as long as you'll have me there. The intensity in her blue eyes makes my breath catch. There's something she's not saying, something bigger than work secrets or mysterious bruises. That night, I can't sleep. Steven's at Glenn's, the apartment feels too quiet, and I keep replaying the conversation. The way she looked at me when she said she wanted me in her life. The careful way she touches my hand, my shoulder, like she's holding herself back from something more. I'm starting to understand that what's happening between us isn't just friendship. The realization both thrills and terrifies me. I've never been attracted to a woman before, never even considered it. But lying here in the dark, I can admit that Alyssa makes me feel things Glenn never did. She makes me feel seen, protected, desired in a way that's entirely new. My phone buzzes with a text from her. Are you awake? I can't stop thinking about our conversation. Me too. I'm worried about you. Don't be. But Emma, I need you to know something. Whatever happens, whatever you learn about me, what we have is real. You're the best thing that's happened to me in years. I stare at the message, heart pounding. The weight of what she's not saying presses against my chest. You're important to me too. More than I expected. Good. Hold on to that, okay? No matter what. After she stops responding, I lie awake until dawn, wondering what I've gotten myself into and why the prospect of finding out makes me feel more alive than scared. 2 days later, Alyssa texts me an address I don't recognize in a part of town I've never been to. The message is simple. If you want to understand, meet me here at 10 p.m. Come alone. Against every instinct telling me this is a bad idea, I drive to the address. It's an industrial warehouse district, mostly empty lots and abandoned buildings. The GPS leads me to a nondescript building with cars parked outside and music thumping from within. I sit in my car for 10 minutes, debating whether to leave. Through the tinted windows I can see people going inside. Rough-looking people. Men and women with tattoos and leather jackets. This isn't Alyssa's usual crowd. My phone buzzes. I see you. Come to the side door. I'll meet you there. She appears like a shadow, dressed in black jeans and a tank top. Her hair is pulled back tight, and she looks different. Harder. more dangerous than the woman who reads to second graders. "Thank you for coming," she says, her voice tense. "I wasn't sure you would. What is this place?" "The part of my life I've been hiding from you." She takes my hand. "Emma, I fight. Underground matches. For money." The words hit me like a physical blow. "You what?" "I need to make $5,000 by the end of the month. My nursing school application requires it for the accelerated program, and I can't get a loan. This is the only way I know how to earn that kind of money quickly." "Fighting? Like, actual fighting?" "It's not as bad as it sounds. There are rules, safety measures. I'm good at it, Emma. I've been doing it for 2 years." The noise from inside gets louder. Shouting, cheering. My stomach churns as I realize what I'm hearing. This is insane. You could get seriously hurt. I won't. I'm better trained than most people in there think. She cups my face with her hands. "I wanted to tell you before, but I was afraid you'd try to stop me." "I am trying to stop you. I have a match tonight, against someone I've fought before. I've beaten her twice, I can do it again." "Her?" "Most of the fighters are women. It's not what you think, Emma. We're not animals. We're people trying to survive, to build something better." She leads me toward the door, her hand firm on my arm. "Just watch, please. Then you can decide if you want to walk away from me." The inside is exactly what I expected and worse. A makeshift ring in the center, surrounded by folding chairs and people holding money. The air smells like sweat and beer and something else I can't identify. Violence, maybe. Alyssa guides me to a chair near the back. "Stay here. Don't move. Don't talk to anyone. I'll be back in 20 minutes. She disappears through a door marked Fighters Only, leaving me alone in this crowd of strangers. The man next to me is taking bets, shouting odds I don't understand. Someone else argues about technique, about who's going to draw first blood. When Alyssa emerges 10 minutes later, I barely recognize her. She's wearing shorts and a sports bra, her hands wrapped in tape, but it's her face that stops me cold. All the softness is gone, replaced by something predatory and focused. Her opponent is taller, heavier, with arms like tree trunks. The crowd cheers as they circle each other in the ring. I want to close my eyes, but I can't look away. The first hit comes fast. Alyssa ducks, counters, lands a solid punch to the other woman's ribs. The sound echoes through the warehouse. My hands are shaking. For 10 minutes, they trade blows that would hospitalize a normal person. Alyssa is faster, smarter, but her opponent is stronger. When a particularly hard hit catches Alyssa's jaw, I find myself on my feet, screaming her name. She glances my way for just a second, and I see her smile. Actually smile, with blood on her lip and sweat pouring down her face. Like she's glad I'm here to witness this side of her. The fight ends when Alyssa gets her opponent in some kind of hold I don't recognize. The bigger woman taps out, and suddenly the crowd is cheering, money changing hands. Alyssa stands in the center of the ring, victorious and beautiful and completely terrifying. 20 minutes later, she emerges from the back room, cleaned up but still flushed from the fight. She's got a small cut above her eyebrow and her knuckles are raw, but she's grinning. "So," she says, sitting beside me. "Questions?" "Are you insane?" "Probably. But I'm also $800 richer tonight, and that much closer to nursing school." "This is how you've been making money? How long?" 2 years. Started after I lost my job at the auto shop. Turns out I'm naturally good at it. I study her face, trying to reconcile this version of Alyssa with the woman who fixes my car and helps with grocery shopping. The scars on your hands, the bruises, occupational hazards. I try to be careful, but sometimes you get your face punched in by someone twice your size. She laughs. Something like that. We sit in silence for a moment, the warehouse emptying around us. I should be horrified. I should be running for the exit. Instead, I'm fascinated by this hidden strength, this fierce determination that drives her. "Why nursing school?" I ask. "Because I want to help people, really help them, not just with groceries and bike rides. I want to matter in the world." "You already matter. You matter to me." She turns to look at me, and something shifts in her expression. "Emma." "What?" "I've been wanting to tell you something for weeks, but I was afraid it would change everything between us." My heart starts racing. "What?" "I'm attracted to you. More than attracted. I'm falling for you, and I don't know what to do about it." The words hang in the air between us. I should be shocked, but I'm not. Maybe I've known this was coming, felt it building in every touch, every look, every moment of connection. I don't know what to say, I whisper. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. She stands up, offering me her hand. Come on, let me take you home. In the parking lot, she stops beside my car. Emma, I understand if this is too much, the fighting, what I just told you, if you need space. I don't need space. The words come out before I can stop them. I need to understand what's happening to me. What do you mean? I mean, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you, about us, about what it would feel like to... I can't finish the sentence, but she understands. She steps closer, and suddenly we're inches apart. I can smell her shampoo, see the flecks of gold in her blue eyes. Emma, she whispers. I've never felt this way about a woman before. But you feel it? Yes. She reaches up and touches my face, her thumb tracing my cheek. Can I kiss you? Instead of answering, I close the distance between us. Her lips are soft, warm, nothing like Glenn's rough kisses. When she pulls me closer, I melt into her touch, into this moment that feels like coming home. When we finally separate, both of us are breathing hard. Wow, I whisper. Yeah. Wow. We stand there in the parking lot, holding each other, and I realize my entire life just changed direction. Again. The kiss lingers in my mind for days. Every time I close my eyes, I feel Alyssa's hands on my face, taste the sweetness of her lips. But with Stephen home from Glenn's, I'm forced back into the routine of single motherhood, and the intensity of that warehouse parking lot feels like a fevered dream. Wednesday evening, I'm helping Stephen with homework when my phone rings. Glenn's name flashes on the screen, and I know from his tone that trouble's coming. We need to talk about Stephen's custody arrangement. What about it? I'm concerned about the influences in his life. New people you're spending time with. I think he should stay with me during the week, just visit you on weekends. My blood turns cold. You can't be serious. I've talked to my lawyer. Given your recent lifestyle changes, instability in employment, new social circle, it might be better for Stephen to have more consistent male role models. Lifestyle changes? What the hell does that mean? You know what it means, Emma. I'm not stupid. I see how you look at her. The line goes quiet. How could he possibly know about the kiss? About any of it? I don't know what you think you know, but I know enough. Think about what's best for Stephen. This conversation isn't over. He hangs up, leaving me staring at my phone in panic. Has someone been watching me, reporting back to Glenn? The paranoia creeps in fast and vicious. That night, after Stephen's asleep, I pace my tiny living room until nearly midnight. When Alyssa texts asking if I'm okay, I ignore it. When she texts again an hour later, I turn off my phone entirely. But Thursday evening, she shows up at my door with takeout and determination. You've been avoiding me, she says, setting bags of food on my kitchen counter. I've been busy. Bullshit. Something happened. Talk to me. Stephen's at his desk doing homework, earbuds in, oblivious to the tension crackling between us. I gesture toward my bedroom, and Alyssa follows me inside, closing the door behind us. Glenn knows, I say without preamble. About us, about how I feel about you. How could he know? We haven't told anyone. We haven't done anything public. He's threatening to take Stephen. Says my lifestyle changes are bad for him, that he needs more stable male influence. Alyssa sits on the edge of my bed, running her hands through her hair. Emma, he can't just take Stephen because you kissed a woman. Can't he? I don't know the law. I don't know my rights. All I know is that he sounded confident, like his lawyer already told him he has a case. So, what are you saying? The question I've been dreading hangs between us. I look at her sitting there, this gorgeous, complicated woman who makes me feel alive for the first time in years. And I want to be brave. I want to choose love over fear. I'm saying maybe we should slow down. Put some distance between us until I figure out the custody situation. You want me to disappear from your life? I want you to understand that Stephen comes first. Always. If being with you means losing him. It won't come to that. You don't know that. Glenn's vindictive when he wants to be. And I can't afford a custody battle. I can barely afford my rent. Alyssa stands up, pacing the small space between my bed and dresser. So he gets to control your life even after the divorce? He gets to decide who you can care about? He gets to be Steven's father. That gives him power over me whether I like it or not. And what about what you want? What about being happy? I was happy. Before I met you, I was surviving, and that felt like enough. Now I want things I can't have, and it's tearing me apart. She stops pacing and looks at me with such intensity it takes my breath away. What do you want, Emma? Right now, in this moment, what do you want? The honest answer terrifies me. I want her hands on my body. I want to know what it feels like to be loved by someone who sees me completely. I want to stop being afraid of my own desires. Instead, I say, I want to keep my son. That's not what I asked. We stare at each other across my small bedroom, the air thick with everything we're not saying. Finally, she moves toward me, slowly, giving me every chance to stop her. Emma, she whispers, stopping just inches away. Look at me. I meet her eyes, and the tenderness there almost breaks me. I'm not going anywhere. Glenn doesn't get to win by making you afraid. I am afraid. I know. But you're also brave. Braver than you think. She reaches for my hand, and when I don't pull away, she intertwines our fingers. Can I hold you? Just hold you? I nod, not trusting my voice. She pulls me against her, and I melt into her warmth, into the strength of her arms around me. We stand there swaying slightly, and I realize this feels more intimate than any kiss. I can't lose him, I whisper into her shoulder. You won't, and you don't have to choose between him and happiness. There has to be another way. Her hand strokes my hair, and I want to believe her. Want to believe that I can have both my son and this woman who makes me feel electric and alive. What if there isn't? Then we figure it out together. But I'm not walking away from you, Emma. Not because your ex-husband is a manipulative asshole who can't stand seeing you happy. Something in her voice makes me pull back to look at her face. What aren't you telling me? What do you mean? You sound like you have a plan. She's quiet for a moment, considering her words. I have friends who know about custody law. People who've been through similar situations. Maybe they can help. What kind of friends? The kind who understand what it's like to have someone try to control you through fear. Before I can ask more questions, she kisses me. Soft at first, then deeper when I respond. My hands find the hem of her shirt, and she doesn't stop me when I pull it over her head. What follows happens in slow motion and lightning speed all at once. Her skin under my hands, warm and smooth. The soft sounds she makes when I kiss her neck. The way she says my name like a prayer. We move to the bed, and she's patient with my nervousness, following my lead, letting me explore this new territory at my own pace. When she touches me, really touches me, I understand why people write songs about this feeling. Later, we lie tangled in my sheets, both of us breathing hard. Steven's still doing homework in the next room, oblivious to the fact that his mother just discovered a completely new part of herself. Are you okay? Alyssa asks, tracing patterns on my shoulder. I don't know what I am. I turn to face her. That was amazing? Terrifying. Amazing. Life-changing? She smiles, and I notice she looks different too. Softer somehow, more vulnerable than I've ever seen her. Emma, what we just shared, that's not something I take lightly. Good, because I have no idea what I'm doing here. You're figuring it out. We both are. Outside, a car door slams, and we both freeze. But it's just the neighbors coming home late. The reminder of the outside world, of the complications waiting beyond this bedroom, settles over us like a weight. I should probably get dressed, I say. Steven will wonder what we're doing in here so long. Of course. But neither of us moves. We lie there holding each other, both of us knowing that everything just changed, and there's no going back to the safety of friendship and plausible deniability. Tomorrow, I'll have to face Glenn's threats and my own fears about the future. But tonight, in Alyssa's arms, I choose to be brave enough to want something for myself. 3 days after sleeping with Alyssa, Glenn's lawyer calls. He's filing a motion for emergency custody modification. The hearing is set for next Friday. I have 6 days to find a lawyer. I can't afford to fight a battle I never wanted. What are the grounds? I ask Mrs. Patterson when she calls to tell me about the paperwork being delivered to the school. Moral fitness concerns. Change in living situation. He's claiming Stephen is being exposed to inappropriate influences. My hands shake as I hang up the phone. I'm sitting in the hotel break room, surrounded by dirty coffee cups and the smell of industrial cleaning supplies. This is my life falling apart in real time. That evening, I call Alyssa and tell her everything. She listens without interrupting, but I can hear the anger building in her voice. He can't do this. Not based on what we've shared. Apparently he can. His lawyer seems to think they have a strong case. What does your lawyer say? I don't have one. Do you know what lawyers cost? I'm barely keeping food on the table as it is. Then we find you one. There are legal aid services, pro bono attorneys who handle family law. In 6 days? Emma, listen to me. I won't let him take Stephen from you. Not over this. What choice do I have? Maybe he's right. Maybe Stephen is better off with stability, a father figure, a normal life. Don't you dare. Don't you dare let that bastard make you believe you're not a good mother. But the doubt has already crept in, poisonous and persistent. What kind of mother puts her own desires ahead of her child's security? What if Glenn's right about the stability Stephen needs? Friday night, Stephen's with Glenn for his regular weekend visit. I'm sitting alone in my apartment, staring at custody papers I don't understand, when there's a knock at my door. It's Alyssa, but she's not alone. A woman in her 40s with short gray hair and kind eyes stands beside her. Emma, this is Sarah Chen. She's a family law attorney who specializes in custody cases. Sarah extends her hand with a professional smile. Alyssa told me about your situation. I'd like to help if you'll let me. I can't afford pro bono. I take on cases like yours because I believe children belong with loving parents, not parents who use them as weapons. We sit at my kitchen table for 2 hours, going over every detail of my marriage, the divorce, my relationship with Stephen, my financial situation. Sarah takes notes constantly, asking questions that make me feel exposed but understood. Glenn's case is weaker than it appears, she finally says. Moral fitness arguments are hard to prove, especially when there's no evidence of actual harm to the child. Stephen's grades are good, he's healthy, he's clearly bonded to you. But what about Alyssa and me? What about it? You're two consenting adults. Unless you're engaging in inappropriate behavior in front of Stephen, your personal relationships aren't the court's business. So, we have a chance? We have more than a chance. But Emma, you need to understand something. If we fight this, Glenn will try to make it ugly. He'll dig into every aspect of your life, looking for ammunition. I glance at Alyssa, who's been unusually quiet during this conversation. What kind of ammunition? Sarah follows my gaze. Anything he thinks will make you look unstable. Employment history, financial struggles, associations with people he deems unsuitable. People like me, Alyssa says quietly. What do you mean? Alyssa takes a deep breath. Emma, there's something else you need to know about my life. The fighting isn't the only thing I've kept from you. My stomach drops. What else? I have a record. Assault charges from 5 years ago. I was defending myself, but it didn't matter to the judge. Glenn's lawyer will use that against you. The room goes silent except for the hum of my ancient refrigerator. I feel like the ground is shifting beneath my feet again. You have a criminal record? For fighting. Before I learned to channel it into something legal. I was young, angry, making stupid choices. Were you planning to tell me this? Eventually. When the time was right. When would that have been? After Glenn takes Stephen, after I lose everything? I stand up, needing distance from both of them. The walls of my small apartment feel like they're closing in. Emma, Sarah says gently, this complicates things, but it doesn't make them impossible. We can handle it. Handle it how? By pretending Alyssa doesn't exist? By lying about who I've become? By proving that your relationship with Alyssa, whatever her past, doesn't impact your ability to parent Stephen. I look at Alyssa, sitting at my table with her head in her hands. What else haven't you told me? Nothing that matters. Not about who I am with you. Everything matters now. Don't you see that? Glenn doesn't have to prove I'm a bad mother. He just has to create enough doubt. So what are you saying? The question hangs heavy in the air. I know what she's asking, what they're both waiting for me to decide. Do I fight for the life I want, or do I retreat to the safety of what Glenn expects? I'm saying I need time to think. Sarah packs up her papers efficiently. Emma, I understand this is overwhelming, but we need to make a decision soon. If we're going to mount a defense, I need time to prepare. After they leave, I sit in my empty apartment and cry. Not the quiet tears I've become accustomed to, but ugly, desperate sobs that feel like they're ripping me apart from the inside. Stephen calls while I'm still crying, wanting to tell me about the movie Glenn took him to see. I pull myself together, listen to his excited chatter about superheroes and special effects, and realize what I have to do. Mom, are you okay? You sound funny. Just tired, sweetheart. Did you have a good time with Daddy? Yeah, but I miss you. Can Alyssa come to dinner Sunday when I get home? I want to show her the new comic book Dad bought me. The innocent request breaks my heart. We'll see, baby. We'll see. After I hang up, I stare at my phone for a long time before texting Alyssa. I've made my decision. We need to talk. She responds immediately. I'm coming over. No, not here, tomorrow. The park where we had our first bike ride. Emma, please don't do this. Do what? Choose fear over love. I stare at her text until the words blur. Maybe she's right. Maybe I am choosing fear. But fear of losing Stephen isn't the same as ordinary fear. It's primal, protective, stronger than any desire for personal happiness. Tomorrow. 2:00. I turn off my phone and sit in the darkness, wondering if courage means fighting for what you want, or if sometimes it means letting go of everything that could destroy what you love most. Outside, Chula Vista continues its Friday night rhythm, oblivious to the fact that by tomorrow evening, everything in my life will be different again. The park feels different today. 6 months ago, this is where Alyssa taught me to trust the bike, to let go and feel the freedom of movement. Now I'm here to let go of something else entirely. She's waiting by the lake, wearing jeans and the blue shirt that matches her eyes. When she sees me approaching, her entire body tenses like she's preparing for a fight. Don't, she says before I can speak. Whatever you're going to say, don't. Alyssa. I have to think about Stephen. Stephen adores me. You know that. Stephen also adores his father. He needs stability, not drama. She steps closer, and I catch her familiar scent of motor oil and shampoo. What we have isn't drama, Emma. It's love. The word hangs between us like a challenge. She's right, of course. What I feel for her goes beyond attraction, beyond friendship. It's the kind of connection I didn't know existed. Love isn't always enough. Bullshit. You're scared, and you're using Stephen as an excuse. Her directness cuts deep because there's truth in it. I am scared. Scared of losing custody, scared of being judged, scared of wanting something that feels this dangerous and necessary. Maybe I am. But that doesn't change anything. We stand there in silence, watching joggers circle the lake. Normal people living normal lives, not having conversations that feel like life or death. What if I told you Glenn's case fell apart? She says suddenly. What do you mean? Sarah called this morning. Glenn's lawyer withdrew the emergency motion. No custody hearing. I stare at her, confused. That's impossible. He was so confident. Turns out your ex-husband has some secrets of his own. Financial irregularities at his company, possible embezzlement charges pending. His lawyer advised him to focus on his own legal problems rather than creating new ones. The information hits me like a physical blow. How did Sarah find out about this? Alyssa looks uncomfortable. She has connections. People who know how to find information when it matters. What kind of connections? The kind that help women protect themselves from men who use custody as a weapon. I study her face, seeing something new there. Determination mixed with guilt. Alyssa, what did you do? I did what was necessary to protect you and Stephen. That's not an answer. She runs her hands through her hair, the gesture I've come to recognize when she's struggling with something difficult. My fighting connections aren't just about making money. Some of us have learned other skills, research, investigation, pressure when it's needed. You investigated Glenn? Sarah's people did. I just made some calls, used some favors. The pieces click together with uncomfortable clarity. Her mysterious connections, the favors people owe her, the way she deflects questions about her past. What exactly are you involved in? Nothing illegal. But women like us, women who've had to rebuild our lives, we look out for each other. We share information, resources, protection when necessary. And Glenn's embezzlement is completely real. Sarah's people just help speed up the timeline for discovery. I sit on a nearby bench, trying to process this information. Glenn's case against me is gone, but now I'm learning that Alyssa operates in a world I don't understand, with people who can make things happen through methods I'm not sure I want to know about. So what now? I ask. Now you get to choose what you want, instead of what you're afraid of. She sits beside me, careful not to touch. Emma, I graduate from nursing school next month. I got accepted to UC San Diego's pediatric program starting in the fall. That's wonderful. I want you and Steven to come with me, not immediately, but when you're ready, when it makes sense. The offer stuns me. Come with you? San Diego has better opportunities, better schools for Steven. You could get management training at one of the hotel chains, make real money instead of just surviving. You've thought about this. I've thought about everything. A future where we don't have to hide, where Steven can have stability and you can have happiness, where we can build something together. I look at her profile against the afternoon light. This woman who reads to children and fixes cars and fights in warehouses and somehow orchestrated my ex-husband's downfall to protect me. Who are you really? She turns to meet my eyes. I'm someone who is broken and learned to put herself back together. Someone who found strength in unexpected places, and people who taught me that family isn't always about blood. And us? Us is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Worth fighting for, worth changing everything for. A family of ducks paddles past on the lake, the babies trailing behind their mother in perfect formation. Such simple trust, such basic protection. Steven's going to have questions. About us, about what this means. Kids are more adaptable than adults give them credit for. He just wants to know he's loved and safe. And are we? Safe? With each other? Yes. From judgment? From people who don't understand? That's harder to control. I think about Steven's easy acceptance of Alyssa in our lives. How he lights up when she arrives. How naturally he includes her in his stories and plans. What if I said yes? What if I said I want to try this, all of it? Her smile could power the entire city. Then I'd say, welcome to the rest of your life. She reaches for my hand, and this time I don't pull away. Emma, I love you. I love Steven. I want to build something real with you. I love you too. The words come easier than I expected. Maybe because they've been true for weeks, waiting for me to be brave enough to say them. 2 months later, I'm standing in Alyssa's cap and gown, watching her receive her nursing degree. Steven's beside me, cheering louder than anyone when her name is called. In my purse, I have an acceptance letter for a hotel management program in San Diego and a lease agreement for a 2-bedroom apartment near the university. Glenn's embezzlement charges were dropped in exchange for resignation and restitution, but his threats about custody disappeared with his legal troubles. The divorce mediator helped us work out a schedule that gives Steven stability with me and regular visits with his father. That evening, we're at the same lake where I almost let fear win. Steven's throwing rocks into the water while Alyssa and I sit on our bench, her head on my shoulder. Any regrets? She asks. About which part? Any of it. The fighting, the investigation, choosing love over safety. I think about my answer carefully. 6 months ago, I was surviving on determination and desperation. Now I'm planning a future I never imagined. With a woman who taught me that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing what matters most despite the fear. No regrets, I say, kissing the top of her head. Just gratitude. Steven runs back to us, pockets full of smooth stones. Can we come back here after we move? I like this place. We can come back anytime you want, Alyssa tells him. Good. This is where Mom learned to be happy again. He says it so matter-of-factly, like happiness is just another skill to master, another distance to cover. Maybe he's right. Maybe that's all any of us can do, learn to be happy again. One choice at a time, one day at a time, one brave decision to trust love over fear. As the sun sets over Chula Vista, painting the water gold and pink, I realize that second chances aren't just about starting over. They're about becoming who you were always meant to be.